Starting our list off at number 10, the red door. Okay, if you're a fan of Haunting of Hill House, this first one here should tickle your fancy. Here we go. I'm terrified already. This is some hospital footage because, you know, why not? This video starts off with a flickering light, but as the person filming walks down the hallway, the door at the end begins to open and close repeatedly. Like this. Check it out. Now, once they reach said red door that was opening and, you know, slamming shut, they realize nothing is there and it doesn't really go anywhere. The door just leads to pipes, like water supply pipes in case of emergencies, you know what I mean? So they're inspecting it to see what have caused the opening and closing when they began to hear banging coming from another door further down the hallway. And then, of course, like Looney Tunes, they go and check out that one as well. When they check it out, they find nothing and nobody. Honestly, you guys, when I saw the door at the end, when it didn't lead anywhere, I was upset. I was like, oh, someone's faking it. Maybe someone's there, you know, doing something on the other side. Nope, just terrifying. There we go. Number 9, historic home tape. No, not one of those home tapes, you freaks. That's another video. This footage comes from a camera that was found at a historic home by a company that works specifically with historic homes. So specific. The footage found shows a few people just exploring around this abandoned home, checking out whatever's going on in creepy houses, you know, whatever we do on weekends. Apparently people like to explore abandoned stuff, because why not? We don't get to see what it is, but something very obvious freaks them out and they're not having it. They're scared while they're filming and then something else weird happens. Check it out.
Hello?
Now this is where the footage from one camera ends and then another camera's footage begins. There we go. It's like, here's a sequel for you. The audio is pretty distorted at parts, which kind of makes it scarier, but check out the other part as well. I'm not exactly sure what happened or who these people are, but something's going on in here. You know what? I'm tapping out. Let's move on. Number 8, Barton Mansion Ghost. This video is from 2001. Somebody explored through the Barton Mansion in California because, like I said earlier, some people like doing that for some reason. This mansion is said to be the home of tons of sinister happenings, satanic rituals, paranormal activity. It's even said that a demon haunts the top floor. It's kind of cool though, demon haunting the top floor. He's like, I shot to the top bunk, and then just floats around. It's said that the night before this video was taken, a group had broken into the abandoned basement, and there they found a creepy configuration of stones surrounding a piece of meat. They came back the next day to take some more video footage of the place, and the part of the video that I wanted to show you is basically a first-person view as somebody explores through said mansion. And it's when they spot something that none of us wanted to see, and that's when all hell breaks loose. Here we go. What exactly did he see there? I have no idea. If you have any ideas, put in the comments down below because I won't be able to sleep. Great. Number 7, clown sightings. This footage comes again from another home surveillance camera, and I feel like these things always catch the creepiest happenings. I just did a doorbell camera video where the dude's licking the guy's doorbell. That's the worst thing I've seen in ages. This time, when the homeowner went to check their footage, they were greeted by an extremely creepy clown. Yeah, I'm not sure if you remember years back when there was like a clown craze. Everyone just wanted to be clowns for some reason and hang out next to the highway. That was weird. I'm hoping that's where this video comes from, but again, there's no explanation, so we just gotta dive in and wonder.
Grabs a pumpkin and then tears it apart. The clown stares awkwardly at the camera before disappearing into the darkness.
I like that the reporter commented that the clown looked awkward at the camera before leaving. Yeah, awkward. That's for sure the word I would use for this encounter. Awkward, not terrifying. Number 6, Blockbuster Ghost. Oh, a classic. For those of you who don't know, before the age of streaming and, you know, LimeWire, Netflix, all that amazing technology, we had to go to a store with our legs and our families. We had to put on our winter coats to go rent a movie. And sometimes we got there and there was only widescreens left of said movie. That was always the worst. You're like, I guess. I would go in and hide a video sometimes, and then come back with my family, we'd find it, and then rent it. Now, as many good memories that rest there in Blockbuster, there's also some haunting ones. This surveillance camera footage shows an employee, after closing, restocking some of the shelves in the store, and then they notice something flying off one shelf while they're stocking it. And when he finishes stocking one shelf, he moves on to the next, but one video on the shelf he just worked on immediately falls off. Okay, maybe he put the video on the shelf in a, awkward angle. It was in a tight 45, maybe it was one of those and it kind of slipped down. It happens. But when he walks away, it flies off the shelf again. Now at this point, I would have already dipped, I would have signed out, maybe even quit my job, who knows. But he goes back, picks the video up, and he walks away again, but this time a video on the other shelf falls down right in front of him, and then as he reaches to pick that video up, another video falls, and then a third one falls. And then he understandably runs off after that. That's just, yeah, to be honest, at that point, I would leave. I would leave after the first video fell, if I'm being honest. Number 5, witch caught on tape. I am terrified of witches. I don't like this one. Okay. This video comes from Mexico and it's said to be a sighting of a witch flying through the air. I love this video. I saw this long before I started working here and it's been rent-free, just sitting right in there. I don't like how slow she's going too. Like, she's not in any rush. The people who recorded the video said they could see the figure wearing a cape, which is why of course we all assume that it's a witch. And also, she's flying through the air, so there's that too. Just to add another layer of to this already kind of weird video, police officers from the area also explained that they had seen some sort of witch-like creature before this footage was even captured. They said they saw some sort of creature dressed in all black with huge claws, and it had their head hanging down low. Like, imagine a police officer, I'd be like, what, go get that thing then. What are you talking about? Is that a gargoyle? I've seen Lord of the Rings. Can we close the city? That's terrifying. That's a Demigorgon. Number 4, creeper in the back. Not creeper in the front. That's a different video. This is creeper in the back. Here we go. With so much of the world working from home and needing to do Zoom calls all the time, and now we're just comfortable and no one wants to go back to the office, so we're just gonna keep doing it forever, I guess. After you see this clip, you're gonna be looking over your shoulder every time you're in a meeting in the future. Yeah, you don't want anything like that creeping around your house at any point. When you're looking or not looking, honestly. The sad part is that guy looked like he was having a good time. Maybe he got a promotion on this Zoom call, whatever was going on. He was loving it until, the scary demon apparatus cloud monster thing appeared, of course. Then it kind of went downhill. Now I don't know what the aftermath is of this video, so if you want peace or sleep tonight, I can't help you. I'm not the guy for you. I just report the videos and go, that's scary, next. Number 3, the clip. This is a video that's titled Clip 95 MP4, and after watching it, honestly, I'm good with the other 94, to be honest. I wish I could explain to you guys what's going on in this video, but again, like the rest of them, I have no idea. That's why I included them. They're really baffling. It's a weirdly put together VHS tape, montage, whatever, that features some strange looking people in masks, a weird thing that maybe looks like a clock, and then a whole bunch of, it's just bad vibes, Chris? Just bad vibes going on. It's just not the mood for us. I don't know what's going on, but I don't want to find out, again, like the rest. I don't know what's going on with the clock symbolism here either. It's very specific. I feel like I'm late watching this video. Like I have like the anxiety going on now. Number 2, the chair. Not to be confused with the WWE wrestling move, the chair. This is way less fun, this one. I grew up watching the big comfy couch. I love comfy couches and comfy chairs. I'll sit on both all day long. A rocking chair as an adult, I'll be asleep in minutes. I love this. Except for when it's haunted and it just rocks by itself. Then in that case, I don't want to buy that, no thank you. This is a video of exactly that. It's a chair that is said to have been purchased, used just a couple of days prior, and let me tell you, I hope they kept a receipt. My grandma had a rocking chair, and she said that it would move on its own from time to time. Isn't that terrifying? My grandma told me that when I was like 8. And finally, number 1, VHS for sale. This VHS tape was found at an estate sale that was being held in a barn. Now the person who uploaded this tape found them in 10 boxes that they had purchased, amongst other things such as records, rusted tools, old paint cans, just borderline garbage, and they're like, yes, I'll paint it a different color and sell it for $1 more. And then, sure. This video shows somebody walking through some sort of mildly wooded area in the daytime, which, okay, yeah, fine, that's all great and dandy, but then it cuts to a night scene immediately, and that's when the uncomfortable feelings start to rise up. That's when I feel like I'm gonna throw up on my keyboard watching this video. I have absolutely no idea what the white thing being dragged is, but hey, guess what? I don't want to find out. There we go. What a fun list that was.
Coming in number 10, we have the Croatian tape. The thing about found footage is it can easily be staged. There's no way of telling if what you're looking at is made by someone with the intention of freaking you out, or if it was actually the last moments of someone's life caught in a disturbing video. Well, that is what we have on our first point. The Croatian tape is said to be recorded in 2005, and no one has any idea of when it worked its way onto the internet. In the tape, there are 2 young boys who are just walking about late at night, and then they're approached by some strange man. There's a couple couple things that seem off about this dude. For one, he's stumbling around like he's drunk or disoriented, and two, he has some sort of canvas bag on his head like he's Jason from the first Friday the 13th movie. First, this guy seems harmless. It seems like maybe he's lost, but then he starts to get aggressive and chase after the boys. They outrun him and make it back to their apartment building, and right when they think that they're safe, they see this in the elevator. Now, this could have all been staged. I mean, how on earth did this baghead guy make it back to the elevator? But they might have been messing around with something supernatural that tracked them down. Coming in at number 9, we have the Paris catacombs footage. If someone invites you to come down into some catacombs for exploring, just say no. That's not a fun place to be, especially when you're in Paris. Why would you spend your time walking around with a bunch of old bones when you could be eating croissants until you need a forklift to sit upright? Well, in Paris, someone thought it would be a good idea to take a break from gorging on baguettes to look at some rotting bones. This is some of the most terrifying found footage I have ever seen. You have a POV shot of someone walking through this tunnel system. For the most part, everything seems normal, but then they start to panic. I don't know if it's the strange markings all over the walls that starts to freak him out, or maybe he got lost, or maybe he heard something, but it doesn't matter because he just starts running. As he's running, you can tell that he has no idea where he's going, and eventually he drops his camera and makes off into the darkness. Let's take a look at this man's panic.
Are pictures of bones.
The video shows the man exploring, but he soon begins to panic. He runs through the maze of tunnels and his breathing gets heavy. As he is running, you can hear and tell the man is freaking out.
Now, we have no idea why this guy started to panic or what happened to him after. The catacombs are like a maze that go on for miles in every direction, so there's a good chance that he got lost down there and was never seen again, or that whatever he was running away from caught up with him. Coming in at number 8, we have doorbell cam. There is nothing better than looking through some videos from your doorbell only to find a creeper walking close to your house. What could be worse than that? Well, what about a dude caught in the act of creeping around your house? I'm about to show you a man who was caught wandering around someone's home, and then they came right up to their door and did this.
He proceeds to knock and ring the doorbell.
The owner of this home woke up to a notification coming from their phone that someone was at their door. You know, sometimes I think it's weird that our lives are becoming so automated, but when you see something like this, you would be happy to have a camera on the front of your door. This person kept trying to work their way into the home in one of the strangest attempts I have ever seen. He rings the doorbell and then tries to break in afterwards. The man is probably deranged and had no idea what was going on. Coming in at number 7, we have the mysterious noise. Now, even when found footage doesn't have something that is explicitly creepy about it, like a dude with a bag on his head chasing you down the street, there can be something strange and creepy to it that just leaves a weird feeling in your stomach. That's how people feel about the Paraguayan camcorder footage. It would seem to be some sort of strange home video that has several different scenes spliced together. It follows a group of teens and all the footage is extremely grainy, which makes sense because the footage is apparently from the 90s. But then there comes this noise. You can hear that strange humming in the background. Now, while this is probably some static that was picked up because the recording is on a very old device, some other people think that this could be a curse of sorts. That if you listen to the full tape, it will bring a dark energy into your life as if you were watching the tape from The Ring. Coming in number 6, we have the South Korean ferry incident. Back in 2014, a ferry in South Korea would take on way too many cars and passengers. Now, even though the vessel should have been able to handle this many people on board, the waves were rough that day and the ship ended up tipping on its side. This is some of the footage from inside the ship.
수연아, 마지막 진짜 팔기 보소. 나도. 우리 이렇게 바다로 헤엄쳐서 이렇게 될 거야. 수연아, 자, 왜 네가 들고 있어? 나 이제 토할 것 같거든.
This entire video is about 20 minutes long, and throughout most of it, no one really seems to think that they're in any danger. They are convinced that the people around them will all be saved when their rescue comes. Unfortunately, they were wrong, and many people that day were not saved. Coming in at number 5, we have the skeleton at the door. Having a doorbell camera might bring in more stress into your life than you would think. Let me show you this footage, and then you can see how stressful it would be to see something like this happen at the front of your house.
with a piece of tape. The homeowner got an alert that motion was detected on the porch, and upon checking the footage was ready to grab his gun. It's not known what was done while the tape was covering the camera.
You see a creepy skeleton come out of the darkness and then cover up the camera to your door. Now apparently this didn't lead to anything. It was probably just some kids goofing around, but some kids goofing around can make you feel like your home is about to get broken into by the undead. Coming in at number 4, we have a towering flame. This is one of the most famous cases of found footage in the 90s. When you hear the start of this, you will literally think it's a plot for a B movie, but this is really what happened. It was in California, and on the side of the road there were some old cassettes that were found. On these tapes was a recording of a massive blaze. It was a house that had been set on fire. Here is some of the footage from that tape.
Asexual turn-ons.
That is just a taste of the whole thing. The rest of the footage goes on for about 4 minutes. You can hear people laughing, and you can only assume that those were the people who lit the fire. For a while, this was just a tall tale and some creepy footage, but eventually the tape made it onto Unsolved Mysteries, and through this, the people were able to track down the culprits. It turned out to be 2 teenagers who were both arrested and tried for their crimes. Coming in at number 3, we have an oncoming train. This footage is some of the most infuriating and depressing footage on this list. It comes from a movie shoot in 2014 when a crew was filming a movie about Greg Almond. They were on a train bridge and they thought that they had all day to shoot, but there was something that the director didn't tell them. The director had contacted the city to get permission to shoot on the bridge, but they were denied the right to shoot twice. Then the crew had to rush off the bridge while the train was barreling towards them. Unfortunately, not everyone was able to make it out of the way of the train safely. When everything was said and done, the production company was sued and had to pay out over $3 million, and the director was thrown in prison for manslaughter. Coming in at number 2, we have No Through Road. There have been a lot of theories about No Through Road. On the footage, there are 4 English teens driving around late at night until they get lost. Eventually, they get to a dead end and try to work their way back, and their car stalls. Then they are confronted by this.
Jay, just give me the... What are you doing? Turn it back on.
It's not me. I can't.
Turn the bloody lights on.
Now that seems pretty terrifying. What on earth do you think that thing is? It looks like it could have just been a regular man, but the rest of the footage is too gruesome for me to show you here. It cuts some of the previous footage on the camera in between these young men being attacked by this strange figure. Now, when you watch it, I would guess that this is a very well put together project from a few teens who wanted to make a short horror movie. But when you dig deeper into the story, the rumors say that the car was found with blood all over it, and there was only the tape left in the car. And coming in the number 1 spot, we have the Stephen McDaniels footage. This is by far some of the most chilling footage that you could ever see. Stephen McDaniels was a very troubled person. He was classmates with Lauren Giddings, and even though the two barely interacted, he had an obsession with her. Without her knowing, he would creep outside her window and film her. Here's some of that footage. Just seeing that makes the hair on the back of my neck stand up. This entire time, Lauren had no idea that there was someone outside her apartment, and it was the last day of school when Stephen would break into her apartment. The police were later notified and found the footage I just showed you on Stephen's computer. Stephen is currently in prison, and there's a good chance he will never be released.
At number 10 is Safe Haven from VHS 2. I'm kicking off this list with Safe Haven because I know some of you guys are gonna seek out these videos against my better judgment. So out of all the entries on this list, if you're gonna watch anything, it better be this one. Safe Haven is a short in VHS 2 which takes you deep into the heart of Indonesian horror, and unless you speak Indonesian, you're gonna wanna watch with some subtitles, because there ain't any English to be found here. The recovered footage is from a news crew as they infiltrate an eerie cult's remote compound, hoping to expose their dark secret. But what unfolds is a descent into pure terror. The brutality is in your face, and it all looks gut-wrenchingly real. If this short succeeds at anything, it's cranking up the tension because you're gonna feel your heart race. The found footage earned critical acclaim and reputation and was one of the best found footage horror experiences ever, so brace yourself for a bone-chilling experience as you witness the cult's nightmarish ritual. But keep in mind, it's definitely not for the faint of heart, nor is any of the rest of the videos in this list. At number 9 is The Sacrament, which is essentially Jim Jones found footage. Is a retelling of the events in Jonestown where the pastor caused a mass unaliving, this time featuring Vice journalists who come into the heart of this eerie community, once thought to be a utopia. This cursed found footage unveils the sinister underbelly of religious leader known as the Father, aka Jim Jones, and his twisted followers. The documentary team unwaveringly investigates this secluded compound as they're met with increasing suspicion and deception from the cult. Father's charisma turns to menace, and the utopian community morphs into a nightmare. With cyanide-laced drinks, the hostages, and mass unalivings, it's a descent into madness to say the very least. If you're enjoying this video so far, please support the channel by pressing like, subscribing to Most Amazing, and ringing that notification bell. At number 8 is the Slumber Party Alien Abduction. I love this one because the camera is strapped to a doggy. I don't love it because of what happens to the doggy, but I'm happy there's a dog in it. Here you've got Gary, Randy, Sean, Denny, Jen, and Zach. They decide to film their lakeside escapades by strapping a camera to their dog, Tank, a Yorkshire Terrier on a mission to capture all the fun, but things take a sinister turn when gray aliens decide to crash the party, lurking beneath the water as the group swims. As night falls, chaos ensues. The aliens plunge the house into darkness, creating chaos and snatching up Zach in a blink. They terrorize the rest of the gang, dragging them off in their sleeping bags with plans to drown them in the lake. Only Gary, Randy, and Jen, and Tank the doggy, manage to bolt, but their escape plan gets tanked when Tank barks and leads the aliens right to them. Come on, buddy. It's a full-blown horror show with fake police lights turning out to be a trap, and the abductions left and right. Gary gets lifted into the air by alien tractor beams while Tank, injured and alone, watches as the camera's battery fades. This one is a real chiller. At number 7 is The Borderlands. In this chilling tale, 3 Vatican investigators venture into a 13th century church with sinister secrets hidden deep within the walls. When they roll up, the priest tries to win them over with footage of objects moving on the altar, but still, the film crew remains skeptical. That night, local hooligans burn a sheep outside of their digs, and it's getting weird. To make a long story short, they end up discovering an eerie door with pagan symbols leading to a dark, hellish descent, echoing with cries and screams, and things just go from bad to worse. As they journey into the depths, they uncover a horrifying history of sacrifice and a minister gone pagan. And then, it takes a surreal, stomach-turning twist as they're all forced to crawl through a tiny, smelly passageway, which is eventually revealed to be part of a monstrous digestive system secreting enzymes to devour the crew and leaving no trace of them behind, except for their camera. At number 6, Butterfly Kisses. Our story here starts with Gavin York, a struggling wedding videographer and film school dropout. He stumbles upon this collection, and well, curiosity gets the best of him. These tapes belong to a documentary created by 2 film students, Sophia and Feldman, back in 2004. They were on a mission to prove the existence of a chilling urban legend, Peeping Tom. Now, this Peeping Tom character, you can supposedly summon him by staring down Ilchester Tunnel at midnight for a whole hour without blinking. Sounds terrifying, right? But here's the kicker. When they review the footage, they realize that Peeping Tom isn't just a legend. He's actually inside of the camera, stalking them. Sophia's left alone in a nightmarish struggle. Fast forward to Galvin, who's set on proving Peeping Tom's existence. He brings in a documentary crew, but things take a dark turn. Questions arise about the authenticity of the tapes and Sophia Feldman's existence and the possibility of it all being just a hoax. Galvin's obsession wreaks havoc on his personal life, and he finds himself alone, abandoned by his family. And despite his efforts to gain credibility, Galvin is mocked and humiliated. Final blow comes when he vanishes inside Ilchester Tunnel, and 9 days later, his mangled body is discovered in a hotel room. At number 5 is Hell House LLC. If you're a fan of horror and found footage, you might have heard of the infamous Abaddon Hotel in Rockland County, New York. This place has a sinister history that's the stuff of nightmares. In a chilling documentary, the crew investigates a mysterious accident that took the lives of 15 people, including the Hell House Company staff and their first group of attendees. The crew's pursuit of answers leads them to Sarah Havel, the sole survivor from the Hell House team. Her footage unveils a series of unexpected events hinting at the hotel's connection to a satanic cult, but things actually are about to get a lot more twisted from here. After watching the eerie tapes, Michael, a crew member, decides to contact Diane, the producer. However, he stumbles upon something too horrifying to describe. When Diane and her cameraman break into the Abaddon Hotel, they discovered a room level 2C where they believed Sarah was supposed to be staying, but there's no escaping the malevolent forces from within. Sarah, the person they've been speaking to this entire time, is no more than a mere ghostly apparition, and there was never any survivors to begin with. As they realize the truth, the camera captures their terrifying demise, leaving you to question the boundaries of reality and the supernatural. Watch this at your peril, but be prepared for sleepless nights. At number 4 is the horror in the high desert. This is the unsolved mystery of Gary Hinge, the amateur hiker who ventured into the heart of the Great Basin Desert, only to disappear without a trace. It all began in July of 2017 when Gary set out from the town of Ruth, Nevada on a solo expedition to a cabin he'd previously encountered. Days turned into weeks, and as his housemate Simon Rogers grew increasingly concerned, the police were called in. A massive search operation ensued, but it turned up nothing, as Gary's truck was discovered 55 miles from Ruth. But here's where it gets bizarre. The truck was teeming with fingerprints that didn't belong to Gary, and barefoot fingerprints led away from it, not matching his own. And then the investigation took a digital turn. Gary was a YouTube vlogger known as Scorpion Sam with a sizable following. His last video recounted a strange encounter near the cabin, but it was met with skepticism. Weeks later, hikers stumbled upon Gary's backpack containing a gruesome find: his severed hand clutching a video camera. Analysts revealed that the hand had been severed while he was alive no more than 5 weeks earlier. The camera unveiled the truth. At number 3 is Lake Mungo. This documentary starts about a family grappling with the loss of their teenage daughter who drowned. There's no gore, no creepy creatures, just a sense of unease. The slow burn of this film works like a psychological vice, tightening with each revelation. If you watch in a dark room right before bed, the atmosphere becomes oppressive. You're drawn into the web of grief and the unknown, and then it happens. An image so unexpected and terrifying that it's seared into your memory. Lake Mungo proves that the most chilling horrors aren't supernatural entities, but the depths of human emotion. And don't be surprised if you lose some sleep. At number 2 is The Last Broadcast. Before The Blair Witch, we had The Last Broadcast, and this obscure mockumentary takes us on a spine-tingling journey into the dark depths of the New Jersey Pine Barrens, where a group of filmmakers met a gruesome fate while documenting the Jersey Devil. The film's vintage aesthetic doesn't just add an old school charm, it enhances the realism, immersing you in the horrifying tale. As it unfolds, reality and fiction seamlessly merge, leaving you questioning what's real, and the result is a vital indie film, one that leaves a haunting mark. When the chilling reveal comes, it's a punch to the gut. The Last Broadcast isn't just for the faint of heart, but if you dare to watch, prepare for a cursed experience like no other. Man-Eater Tragedy. Released in 1980, it's a notorious film credited with pioneering the found footage horror genre. The exploitation classic follows an American documentary crew whose cruelty towards a native Amazon tribe results in their gruesome end. It's infamous for its disturbing, realistic, unaliving scenes and its relentless brutality. The film's shocking portrayal of violence and the eerie ethics of filmmaking has sparked debates and controversies for decades. While it's considered a transgressive masterpiece, it's not for the faint of heart, and watching it may leave you with images you cannot erase. I am serious, you guys.
Coming in at number 10 is Bali Hotel. Graphic designer Paulina Archalute went viral on TikTok in 2022 after exploring a completely abandoned hotel in Bali. In a series of TikToks that have racked up almost 30 million views in total, Paulina and her partner explored the empty resort with 266 rooms left in near perfect condition. The video begins with a before and after shot showing just how eerie the site is. Paulina has not been able to find find any history on the hotel, but believes it was suddenly abandoned around 2020 and no one seems to know why. She said the last reviews of the hotel guests were written in 2020, so I guess it became abandoned throughout that year. The place was completely open, there were no signs of closure, no fence, or anything like that. If anything, at the beginning we thought it was a functioning hotel, as we noticed 2 helmets placed on the ground by its reception, so we thought someone is still in the hotel. Now the footage shows different areas of the venue, including the entrance, which has been taken over by nature, as well as various rooms, dining spaces, and trinkets that Paulina discovered. Now some rooms are still made up for guests who will never arrive, with furniture, towels, leaflets, and toilet paper in place. Later, Paulina and her partner even found plates with half-eaten food on the table, as well as documents in the staff room. Now this is truly haunting, it's like everyone just magically disappeared. Number 9. Pripyat Amusement Park. The Pripyat Amusement Park is an abandoned amusement park located in Pripyat, Ukraine. It was to have its grand opening on May 1st, 1986, in time for the May Day celebrations, but these plans were cancelled on April 26th when the Chernobyl disaster occurred only a few kilometers away. Several sources report that the park was open for a short time on April 27th to locals, but they were forced to evacuate as reports of dangerously high levels of radiation in the area started to emerge, something inhabitants and authorities were unaware of the day of the nuclear incident. Now, radiation levels around the park vary. The liquidators washed radiation into the soil after the helicopters carrying radioactive materials used the grounds as a landing strip, so concreted areas are less radioactive. Today, the park remains untouched and the unused rides are disintegrating or consumed with mold. Many explorers go to this abandoned place to see what could have been. Number 8. Lennox Castle. Lennox Castle in Scotland was built in 1812 for John Lennox Casside Lennox. He was supposedly a distant relative of the Clan Cansyd, who were descendants of some of the most notable ancient earls of Lennox. The castle was home to the important Scottish family until it was converted into an asylum for the mentally ill in the 1930s and a hospital during World War II, when the existing mentally ill patients were transferred to other buildings on the property. Apparently, fights among the patients were common, and in one particularly bad fight, much of the staff, along with uninvolved patients, ran from the hospital. The rioters were locked inside, and in the end, they significantly damaged the ward. Now, the hospital was vacated by the 1980s and officially closed in 2002. There's now talk of converting the building into flats, but for now, it lies abandoned, decaying, as there was a fire there in 2008. Number 7. Linwood Hall. Linwood Hall is a neoclassical revival mansion in Elkins Park, Montgomery County, Pennsylvania. It's the 12th largest historic house in the US, and it features a whopping 110 rooms, like a ballroom that can accommodate 1,000 guests. It once held the most important private art collection of European masterpieces in the country. It was built in the 1900s for Peter Errol Brown Winneter, a businessman who became wealthy from investing in public transit and meat packing, among other things. Now, he had 3 sons, one of whom died on the Titanic, and he lived in the house until he died in 1915. His son Joseph inherited the mansion and lived there until he died in 1943, and no surviving members of the family, even his children, wanted to take on the responsibility of the place. By 1945, his estate was valued at $98,368,058. A developer later tried to sell Linwood, but the only taker was a fundamentalist preacher, Carl McIntyre, who bought the home in 1952 for $192,000. Now, it went into foreclosure in 2006 when the McIntyre organization couldn't pay the mortgage, and it lies abandoned to this day. Now, I can't imagine exploring this place as it is huge. There are still tables and chairs set up, as well as furniture, and the inside of the pool lays filled with debris. Number 6. Lai Family Mansion. Built in 1929, the Megong Ghost House, aka the Lai Family Mansion, is a freaky place with a heartbreaking history. Located in the Taiwanese countryside, it's been abandoned since the 1950s when the family fled abruptly. Now, there's plenty of stories for why the family left, but the main story is that the family's maid was having an affair with her employer, Lai Rong-yu, and when the secret became public, she died after jumping down a well. A few years later, the property was occupied occupied by members of the Kuomintang of China, KMT, many of whom were also thought to have died by ending their own lives, which exacerbated its reputation as haunted. Today it sits untouched with nature and strange paintings overtaking the outside of the building. Number 5. Villa de Vecchi. Villa de Vecchi is located near Camp Como, Italy. The House of Witches dates back to 1854 to 1857, when it was built as a summer house for Count Felix de Vici. The family was only able to spend a few years there as they had tragedy after tragedy right after it was built. First, the architect died a year after construction. Then in 1862, Count de Vici came home to discover his wife dead and his daughter missing. When he could not find her after a year of searching, he died by ending his own life. His brother then moved into the home and his family continued to live there until World War II. Now it has been vacant since the 1960s, and an avalanche in 2002 wiped out all the houses in the area except this one. Now you'd think with all the tragedies surrounding the house that it would succumb to the avalanche, but no. Let me just say, that is so freaky. Now the inside of the house today is covered in dust and most notably has graffiti all over the walls. Number 4. Willard Asylum for the Chronic Insane. The Willard Asylum for the Chronic Insane is a listed building on the U.S. National Register of Historical Places, and it first opened its doors in about 1869. The campus was divided between a women's side and a men's side with a violent end and non-violent end. Administration buildings sat in the middle, and the land had originally been designated for agricultural purposes, so the hospital ran its own farm with crops grown and tended by the patients. Now patients were unconfined, able to walk about as they pleased, but there were entire buildings devoted to treatments like electroshock therapy and ice baths, as well as operating theaters and a morgue. A cemetery on the grounds features markers with numbers, no names for the thousands buried there. Now after Geraldo Rivera's 1972 expose on the deplorable conditions at Willowbrook Asylum, numbers in large institutions declined sharply. Willard Asylum discharged its final patient in 1995 and shuttered its doors for good. The building is currently rotting and decayed, housing the secrets of what the patients went through. Number 3. Bridges Asylum. Bridges Asylum originally opened in 1874 and was known as the Athens Asylum for the Insane. It had 2 wings, one for the female patients and one for the male patients. Now the most violent patients were housed at the outermost tip of each wing. By the start of the 1900s, the asylum had become dangerously overcrowded, and rumors of inhumane treatment at the hands of the overworked staff were growing. Despite this, it was not officially closed until 1993. Now some parts of the building are still in use, while other areas are completely abandoned. Now one of the scariest places in the building is the outline of a body where Margaret Shrilling died in 1979. She apparently got lost in the disused part of the hospital in the winter of 1978-79 and was not found for more than a month. When the corpse was finally removed, it left a stain that could never be washed away. It's still there today, and if you go there, you can see it, which is just haunting. Margaret is one of the many ghosts who is said to walk the asylum at night. Strange figures have been seen roaming around old floors, and others have heard disembodied voices, footsteps, and screaming. It's a scary and disgusting place, and I would never set foot in there. Number 2. El Hotel de Salto. In San Antonio del Tequendama, Colombia, a 1920s residential mansion was constructed overlooking the falls. For 60 years it operated as a hotel, and it was built in 1923 as a luxury hotel to host elite travelers visiting the area. Ordered and built by the President of Colombia and designed by architect Carlos Arturo Tapez, the hotel was a place for the richest to gather and indulge in most exceptional experiences. Now it was meant to be renovated in the 1950s, but due to pollution of the Bogota River, the project was dismissed. In the 1970s, sewage started affecting the river, so the hotel closed in the early 1990s as a result of the overwhelming pollution in the river. Now some reports state that it's the second most polluted river worldwide, as the river is full of feces, waste, chemicals, and many other toxic things. Over the years, the hotel began to deteriorate until it was left deserted altogether. Today, the hotel is said to be haunted, and this is owing to the fact that many people have used its location as a place to end their life. It's also said that Muisca Indians used to jump into the falls to evade capture from Spanish conquerors. The myth is that those who jumped would turn into eagles and soar to freedom, and sadly this appeared to most wanderers, who would then leap to their death. This place is just full of tragedy. And coming in at number 1 is the Diplomat Hotel. The Dominican Hill Retreat House was built in 1913 atop a hill in the famed Philippine city of Pines. With the outbreak of World War II, it became a camp for refugees escaping the Japanese army, but it was eventually invaded. It was once occupied by refugees, nuns, and soldiers, but it was bombed by the American Armed Forces. People were taken advantage of and mistreated, tormented, and had their heads cut off. In the 1970s, the Wharton building was converted to the sophisticated and beautiful Diplomat Hotel, but the hotel was shut down by the 80s and left abandoned. The deserted, deteriorating building became infamous for being one of the most haunted ruins in the country. Currently, the old hotel is now under rehabilitation by the national government as a heritage and nature park. Now, many people have seen headless apparitions at night and reported hearing screams, cries, banging on doors, and other strange and desperate noises. Some believe the building is haunted by the restless spirits of its grim history, and that makes the most sense.
We're going to start off the list with a video uploaded on the YouTube channel Matt Studios. This one features something very similar to the Backrooms internet phenomenon, the pool rooms. Large, oddly constructed indoor swimming pools that have an odd, dreamlike feel to them. But this video combines both, which I really like. We start off in a space very similar to your standard Backrooms setting. Our camera person roams through a large, empty office space with the garish yellow lighting and dull buzz of the cheap VHS camera rolling. Soon, they find a small, dark, square-shaped passage in one of the walls, and they squat down to start crawling through it. And on the other side, they find themselves in this large indoor pool area. It's stuff like this that I really love about these types of videos. You find yourself asking questions like, why was this place constructed in this way? Why are there corridors that seem to lead nowhere? And how is it that you can only access the pool through a crawl space in an office building? Your brain just can't wrap itself around it, and it creates this unsettling feeling in the pit of your stomach. Something is off. You just can't quite explain why. And the pool room is an eerie world in its own. Pleasant looking at first glance, but the more it's explored, the more ominous it feels, with its unlit corridors leading to and containing who knows what. Next up, we have the Backrooms informational video. This one is brought to us by the one who started it all, Kane Pixels. I guess he didn't really start it, but definitely popularized it. And it's another super well done video, very eerie and unsettling. This one starts off as an informational video, the type of instructional video you'd watch when starting a new job, specifically one that involves some type of danger or risk to your health. And the Backrooms are certainly dangerous. This video really builds on the lore of the Backrooms, which is definitely interesting, although I do like the mystery surrounding the idea. The unknown is what we often fear most of all, which I think the Backrooms exemplifies perfectly. And this video does a good job of giving you more context while not revealing it too much. There's still a lot that your brain is trying to fill in. There's something really unsettling about the opening instructional video portion of this video, though. It's so strange in context, but there's something familiar about it as well. It has the grain of an old VHS tape you'd watch in your elementary school science class, but there's something off about it, almost dreamlike once again. And I'll probably say this a lot in this video, but I think that's what the Backrooms does so well. It's a mix of the unknown, an unsettling, isolating space between spaces mixed with that nostalgia. Number 8 on the list, we have found footage number 1, uploaded to YouTube by Higana. This is just a very well done Backrooms video. You have all the hallmarks here, the liminal space, the yellow lighting, and this one, we get the horrifying backroom entity. There's a shot where you just see it standing off in the distance, making that unnatural, heavily distorted howling sound, and we get a fantastic jump scare here where the camera person turns away just for a second. When they turn back, the thing is way closer than it was before, and it's coming for them. Imagining just being in this situation is utterly chilling. I gotta play a Backrooms VR game or something. Anyone ever done that? Let me know. It would just be amazing. I've never even tried VR before, so Backrooms version, that would be quite the first time experience. Probably not recommended either. Next on the list, we have Shifting Rooms. This one was uploaded by the Odd Reel YouTube channel, and it's another one that combines the back rooms with a pool rooms type liminal space. It's a very ominous video. All these videos are pretty ominous, but this one is visually darker. There's just something that feels really dark about it. It starts off with the cameraman filming an old PC computer when suddenly they're in an odd room and discover a tunnel, and they start sliding into it. Reminds me of one of those tube slides from when I was a kid, but smaller, more claustrophobic. You also hear what sounds to be heavily reverberated audio from the Disney Alice in Wonderland cartoon, which really adds to the theme of this person entering into a different, strange dimension. Once they're out of the tunnel, they find themselves in a darkly lit indoor pool area, and then they start exploring this strange space where there are these thin, dark corridors built into the walls. Again, why is this building constructed? Again, what has this building been constructed for, and what purpose does it serve? It's unknown. And throughout the video, you hear audio which seems to be coming from some unknown source as you continue moving through this large, cold, empty building. Great job on the Odd Reel. Definitely worth checking out this one. Alright, next up we have Soup. This next video is brought to us by YouTube creator Crispy VFX. It's brilliant because it combines the backrooms with one of the internet's most infamously disturbing videos, and it's done really well. When it hits, it hits. Have you ever seen a creepy video online in some drab, ominous looking room and thought, what if I found myself in the same building where this video is, right in this eerie place that I'm thankfully separated from, just observing it through my computer screen? Well, this POV found footage style video places the viewer in that exact situation. Ever seen that weird old video, the guy eating ramen noodles with the mysterious man in the costume standing behind him? Well, this video takes us from the back rooms into that space. Fantastic idea and really well executed. This looks like old grimy VHS footage, and the sound design is so unsettling. I think that's another aspect that makes up not just a good backrooms video, but any good scary video. Next up we have Wall Holes. This video, uploaded by the YouTuber Kaufman, just came out recently, and I think it's well worth a watch. I like this one because it's just simple but effective. I find the backrooms themselves far more eerie than the weird monsters and the party goers and all that. Just give me this open space with dull yellow lighting, buzzing of the overhead lights, and some mysterious, dark, ominous areas that are just unlit for some unknown reason. Maybe some strange noises in the distance, and I'm uncomfortable already. And here we get exactly that. You also hear the person behind the camera whispering indistinguishably throughout the entire video, which gives the video this still unsettling quality while also being kind of hypnotic at the same time. It almost lulls you into a sense of calm, and then you get the ending. I don't want to spoil it for you though, so it's nothing crazy or anything, but it just sends a slight shiver up your spine. This next one was uploaded by YouTuber Reverse Logic and is simply titled Backrooms Found Footage. What I love about this one is how realistic the depiction of the backrooms looks. Some backrooms videos have a tendency of looking a little too strange and video game-esque, but this one has that perfect blend of realism with something just slightly off about the office space's layout that makes it feel unnerving. We got our cameraman who falls into the backrooms and spends most of the video moving through the large, dully lit, empty spaces, but what sets this one apart is the downright bone-chilling entity that seems to be stalking him through the empty halls. This thing is nightmarish, far creepier than the standard wiry, computer-generated entity you typically see. It's ghostly and oddly shaped, but still looks like something that could exist in our three-dimensional reality. Really off-putting stuff. At number 3 we have Level 232. This one was uploaded by YouTuber Ruster and takes place in a unique setting, a large empty grocery store. This is an even more familiar environment than the empty office building we typically see in backrooms videos. Most of us spend a fair amount of time at the grocery store, but that familiar setting feels nightmarish when you make it completely void of people and make the length of the space seemingly endless. Empty aisles upon empty aisles with no end in sight. You also hear old-timey music echoing through the space, which adds another surreal layer to the whole thing. At one point, our cameraman reaches the sliding doors that are the exit, but they won't open, and at his feet are what look to be very various tools other unfortunate souls have used in an attempt to pry the doors open. And then an alarm goes off, all the lights are cut, and now we're just standing in silence. Nothing but a faint echo of someone or something begins to emanate from the depths of the darkness. And what comes out of it, you'll just have to watch find out. At number 2, we have another pretty well-known backrooms video from Kane Pixels, found footage number 2. We start with the camerawoman placing several items into a taped off portion of the floor. The items simply go right through the concrete into some unknown space below, and she falls into the floor, ending up in the terrifying realm of the backrooms. You get some really haunting imagery here. She enters into a room where there are these chairs with legs that are just too long, sitting alone in the middle of the large room. She enters a large area where there's a car that's been smashed up and is kind of formed into the wall, and she comes across one of those harrowing entities that just makes you shudder. What's really impressive here again is how real it all looks. Kane Pixels videos look like they were really shot in a large empty office space and then maybe enhanced with CG for certain parts, but it all looks like it was shot in camera to me, which is pretty fantastic. Of course, the VHS grain and low quality helps mask the computer generated elements, but still very, very well done. And at number 1, we have level 122. This one is absolutely fantastic. Props to Ruster once again here. This is one of the coolest backrooms videos I've ever seen. It just feels like you're watching an actual nightmare play out on screen. We start with our cameraman entering into what looks to be a darkly lit parking garage. He finds an escalator, and as he begins ascending it, lights from above slowly begin turning on, and the few that were on below in the parking garage turn off, just leaving nothing but darkness down there. This video does a great job of creating this ominous suspense as he enters into different areas, and lights slowly turn on. You start to feel a sense of unease. Your mind starts coming up with images of what you might see as your eyes attempt to adjust to the new environment. Is that a person in that dark corner over there? Is very effective, and you get a few different eerie environments. Here he finds himself in an empty shopping mall that looks like it's right out of the early 90s. There's something warped and off about it, and then he ends up in a subway station. He enters into a dark room, and he tries to turn around back to safety. The mall's just gone. It's just a subway platform now. Again, very confusing and dreamlike.
Starting us off at number 10 is an alien demon. This clip first surfaced back in 2019 after a woman named Vivian Gomez was checking her security camera footage one morning. In this clip I'm about to show you, there is a creepy, pale, gaunt looking creature who walks, or whatever you want to call it, across her driveway, and I mean, I don't blame her for being freaked out. So as you can see, there is a very weird little humanoid looking creature that would for sure make me question my sanity if it popped up on my security footage. Now, of course, when it was posted, there were quite a few people that pointed out how much this creepy creature resembles Dobby, the elf from Harry Potter, and I mean, honestly, I kind of do see that. Also, that funky little chicken dance thing that it's doing is definitely not the most intimidating thing a demon could do. But the funny Dobby point aside, it's still a super freaky video that definitely makes me feel all kinds of weirded out. I mean, look at that thing. It doesn't look human to me, that's for sure. Plus, all we are seeing is the back. Who knows what its face looks like, let alone what it could be capable of. Let's just hope that whatever it is, it's not looking to hurt us. Next up at number 9, a river monster. Now, this video starts off a little differently from the rest on this list, but I still thought it was weird enough to add to the list for you guys. As you can see, there are 2 people at the top of a hill with a stretcher, and a group of people in what appear to be hazmat suits a little bit down a ledge from them trying to pick something up. Now, a group of people wearing hazmat suits in the middle of the day by the river is definitely a little unusual to begin with, but what's even stranger than that is what they appear to be grabbing. If you take a look at the clip, it looks like whatever they're grabbing is some kind of strange creature, potentially even a demonic one. Some people online said they thought it looked like a mermaid, which, I mean, is definitely one theory. I don't know, you guys, let me know in the comments what you think this creature could be. Coming in at number 8, a skeleton demon. Demons come in all shapes and sizes, but until today I had never really thought about one that looked like a skeleton. I mean, I don't know, maybe that's just me. And hey, maybe it's not a demon, but then you can tell me what this creature might be. As you can see in the clip here, it looks like this came from some security footage, and right there, as you can see, is a creepy, demonic alien skeleton thingy that will probably be etched into my brain for many days to come. But then, something spooks it and it disappears behind a bush. And that's it. That's all we see of this terrifying creature. Now, some people online think this one could be a hoax, but I don't know. What do you guys think? Could that be a freaky skeleton demon coming to haunt you in your sleep? I sure as hell hope not. Next up at number 7, a demon possession. Now, don't get me wrong, I love ooky spooky content as much as the next person, but that doesn't mean I'm looking to get mixed up with demons or hoping to catch one on a ghost hunt. These guys, however, posted a video of their ghost hunt a little over a year ago to YouTube entitled "The Scariest Video You Will Ever Watch." Now, that's a pretty bold statement considering what is on the internet these days, but to be fair, there is a pretty freaky moment where it looks like one of the guys gets possessed. So as we can see, the lights are flickering, you know, classic demon stuff, and so they head into the room to investigate. But the creepy part comes when the guy holding the camera turns back and sees his friend with completely jet black eyes. I mean, if that were me in a haunted house with the lights flickering like that, I would definitely be running as far away as I could. But hey, to each their own. However, maybe the strangest part is that literally seconds later, it's gone and he's back to normal. I mean, I don't know. What do you guys think? Was he being possessed by an evil demon? Coming in at number 6, a creepy crawly. This next one was posted to the YouTube channel Kisaweba, and it's definitely what my nightmares are made of. All demons are creepy, but there is definitely something about one that's crawling on the ground that adds an extra layer of shivers down my spine. As you can see in the clip, this demon is crawling across the pavement, full horror movie style on their hands, and behind them it looks like there is this trail of like demon ghostness falling behind them, or maybe that's just the shape of the demon. I'm not totally sure. Either way, it is an incredibly demon-looking thing to me, but whatever it is, I would 100% not want to run into this on my nighttime walk. That is for sure. Next up at number 5, a pale creature. This next clip is creepy to say the least. It was first posted to Twitter by the username paranormalitym, and it immediately had just about the entire internet freaked out. In this clip I'm gonna show you here, there is an almost ghoulishly white creature that is probably one of the most indescribable things I've ever laid eyes on. I mean, you take a look for yourself and see, right? Look at that thing. Do you get what I mean? Like, actually, what is that creature? Some think it could have been some kind of paranormal sighting, while others joked it kind of looked like Gollum, which, truth be told, I can kind of get behind. However, the resemblance to Gollum or not doesn't make this ghoulish creature any less freaky, or any less possible of being a demon capable of possessing you and ruining your entire life. Coming in at number 4, Voldemort Demon. This next video was posted by an account called Supernatural back in 2020, and before I get into it, let me just start off by saying that the first thought I had about this demon was that it looked like Voldemort. That or Emperor Palpatine maybe, both of whom I would prefer to whatever the hell is in this clip. So as you can see, as the camera starts coming into focus, a terrifying dark creature is standing at the very back of the hallway staring right at the camera. Now, something about the fact that it doesn't move almost makes it scarier, like I am just waiting for something super bad to happen. However, whoever was filming this apparently likes to live on the edge, as it looks like they actually start getting closer to this evil cloaked demon. But then, completely out of nowhere, this Voldemort demon straight up falls away and disappears. I mean, look at that. Like, what is happening there? If there is one thing that is scarier than seeing a demon, it's seeing that demon disappear and having no sweet clue where the hell it went. Coming in in at number 3, Monster Under the Bed. Thanks to horror movies, there are many people out there who are nervous to sleep with their toes outside of the covers on the off chance that a demon will come and grab them in the night. And listen, I'm not saying it makes complete sense, but I'm also saying that I might be one of those people. Now, while I'm not 100% sure, it seems like this might be footage of someone that's being possessed by a demon. That or it's a humanoid kind of creature, but either way, it's spooky and not anything I would ever want to come into contact with. In the clip here, you'll notice it starts on the bed, then is abruptly seen standing with its back to the camera before the clip jumps, and all of a sudden, this demon is shaking the bed by the bars like a maniac. This clip continues on to show the ghoulish white figure standing in the corners or contorted around the bed until maybe the creepiest part, when this demon looks as if it starts eating its own flesh. Listen, tell me what you see here. To me, this looks like a freaky demon possession that would 100% ruin my sleep. And if the demons that may or may not live under my bed are anything like this, then, well, let's just hope they leave me alone. Coming in at number 2, The Floating Girl. This next video was posted online back in 2017. However, according to the timestamp on the video itself, it looks like it was taken back in 1997. This section of the clip I'm gonna show you starts off with a woman who I'm going to guess is the priest or something, cracking what looks like a black egg into a bowl. I mean, already I'm confused, but that is quickly far less interesting as the possessed girl abruptly sits up and all you see are her piercing, hollow black eyes. She drinks the egg concoction and then, as quickly as she sat up, she throws her body back down into the bed. As you can see, things keep getting crazier. Her seemingly hollowed out eyes shoot back open, and the next thing you know, she's floating off the bed. From there, her body starts slowly lowering down again until she grabs the camera and it goes blank. I mean, you guys are looking at the same thing as me here, and I have to admit that is some pretty freaky footage. And last up in our number 1 spot today, Possessed by the Devil. Not to be dramatic or anything, but this last clip I'm about to show you is utterly horrifying. I mean, honestly, I think that this clip is going to be seared into my mind for eternity, which is super fun. Like, just watch the clip here. Pardon me, the contorted face and body, the blood all over his mouth, and what was that evil laugh noise he was making? Also, can we talk about the ribs that may as well have been cracked open at the very end there? If there was ever a video to prove the existence of a demon possession, I would definitely put this video at the top of my list. That's all I'm saying, because really, I can't think of many other explanations for what I just saw.